Hello YouTube, Venom Samurai here again, bringing you another rant about one of my personal favorite characters in the DC universe, Batman. Specifically, the new Batman Arkham Knight game. I like this game. It has a lot of good going for it. The combat is very fun. I love some of the new stuff they've added, especially the dual team takedowns. Just seeing Batman working off of Catwoman and Nightwing and Robin and all these other characters, that's great. The story's engaging. Story's really good. Could have used a little less kind of obscurity in some of the characters. Like, I don't think a majority of Batman fans would know who Professor Pig was necessarily unless you followed the series from A to Z during the conversion over to the New 52 and all that sort of jazz. But still, good solid side missions. Really love the Penguin side missions where you can't use the car to track the other vehicles. Love some of the chase missions, are a little annoying, but that just comes from I'm not a big racing person, so I don't really get the whole drifting and all this sort of shit. But on the whole, I like the side missions. That being said, the major drawback, the big just middle finger to the players, the most frustrating, aggravating, most horrific thing added to this game is the Batmobile. Now, before I get the hates out there, before I get the people out there who want to hate on this, hear me out, okay? Alright. I don't mind having the Batmobile as a means to get around Gotham. That's great. That's what Batman would do. Having it convert into a tank, that's kind of okay. A lot of people think there's some controversy there with, oh, that's not Batman's character because he wouldn't be blowing up tanks and this, that, and the other. To be fair, they do actually explain that they are unmanned. So, he's not actually hurting anybody by blowing up these tanks. I just want to point that out. That is not what annoys me. What annoys me is the fact that in order to make the car seem like an extension of Batman, they decided to include sneaking missions with the fucking car. Let that process through your head for a second. Sneaking missions with a car. Now, this wouldn't be so bad if, like, you had to stay behind another car and you had to tail them through the streets of Gotham and then you used that as a means to get from point A to point B. That would have been fine with me. But what they did, fucking Cobra tanks. I emphatically hate these things. I hated every instance of dealing with these sons of bitches. And what made it so bad was that you couldn't act like a tank. Okay? You're in tank mode for most of those missions. The only time you are not in tank mode is when you are getting away from them. But for the most part, you're in tank mode, and you can't attack these things head on. You can't even damage these things head on. You have to sneak around behind. You have to get into alleyways and wait for them to pass by and pray to God they don't scan you with their long-range scanners that scan in 360 degrees. And then the Cloudburst tank. Oh my god, I hate the Cloudburst tank. And currently, I have not finished the game. I want to point that out. But I've seen what happens. I also want to point that out. I'm not one who... I have this thing where I don't particularly want to wait until I have finished the game personally. Besides, I'll probably forget what happened all the way to it. I'm just kind of like a squirrel. I'm kind of like a dog with a squirrel. You know, they'll go, squirrel! Hi there. Yeah, that kind of thing. But... fucking Cloudburst tank. Not only... do you have to pull a Cobra tank move on this damn monstrosity, but you have to do it from all 4 fucking sides of the tank. Then the fight's not over. Then you have to shoot the goddamn Cloudburst. I lucked out when I died just before. It took all of my health just to get it to that freaking checkpoint. Okay, I don't do well at sneaking missions in the tank. I want to point that out. Sneaking missions as Batman, I can do okay. I'm not great at them, but I can do okay. I can at least be sneaky as Batman. Okay. But, oh my god. I lucked out in the fact that after the tank blew me up and I went through the whole thing, it went back to the checkpoint. I am so thankful the game did that. And when it did, it glitched the tank into a corner where it could still shoot at me, but it was in a corner where the alley, it could only shoot to one side or the other. So technically, the game glitched a cheat for me. So that was pure fucking luck. I want to point that out. Pure fucking luck. But now I'm up to the tunneler. Oh my god, I hate this section. And what I hate about this section, it's not that you're driving through a tunnel. That's not what bugs me. What bugs me is the fact that you are having to drive through a circular tunnel without circular controls. Now, your average game, when you're going through a tunnel and you have to dodge things on one side or the other, it usually gives you what I like to call swing motion. Take, for example, you're driving a car, a regular car, down a tunnel. When you drive a car, it goes up to the side or up to this side. It doesn't turn and go up. It doesn't do a 90-degree turn almost and go up. It just doesn't do it. Okay, there's enough grip, and this is the Batmobile, for God's sakes. It's supposed to have treads that can grip. I mean, for fuck's sake, they can hang this thing from a damn cable, but they can't make tires that are strong enough to go up the freaking side of a thing without losing speed? And on top of all that, I mean, I guess they needed to get rid of that extra tread so they could make the little lights in the wheel. Okay, Rocksteady, if you happen to see this video particularly, I want to point out, I liked the inclusion of the Batmobile. To a point. The point where I quit enjoying it was the sneaking missions, okay? There's no point to it. There's no reason why, other than you just really wanted to, you didn't want to put any more effort into Batman, you wanted to put all this effort into the fucking Batmobile. You guys fucking gave the Batmobile a blowjob in this game. It's not supposed to be Grand Theft Batman, okay? I get that you guys helped work on the Grand Theft Auto games. I get that. I get it. You guys in Rockstar, you just had to go work on that. But, God, why did you try to make it Grand Theft Auto Batman? Pardon me. I mean, there were some great missions in this game. Like, probably my favorite mission out of the side missions that I've done. Now, I haven't gotten Deacon Blackfire's yet. I haven't completed all the APCs, all that sort of jazz. I haven't completed all that, but I have completed some of the major side missions, like I've captured Firefly. That chase sequence was fun because it was a means to an end. You were chasing Firefly to launch Batman out and knock him down. And you only had to do that 3 or 4 times. Okay? The Two-Face bank robberies, you only had to do those 3 times. If I'm remembering correctly, it's 3 times. Those, you start out, the alarms are going off so they can't hear you, and you can just drop down and kick the shit out of these guys. But then the alarms get turned off and you have to go Predator on them. But while you're doing that, they're loading money into the trucks. Now see, that's cool. That's using Batman effectively. In terms of using the tank effectively. Love the campaign for disarmament. The bombs spread around Gotham, that's a good idea. You know, then it becomes kind of a tower defense sort of thing. That's cool. That's a popular style of gaming right now. And I can get behind that. Going in and using the tank mode to clear out drones on the islands, that's a good little thing right there. But why the sneaking missions? Rocksteady, why? I understand that you wanted the Batmobile to be an extension of Batman. I get it. But why? Do you understand exactly how aggravating it is to try to look in 360 degree on a 2D plane? You have to fucking remember what's behind you, and you have to be aware of your surroundings at all times. That's not fun, okay? That's a fucking chore. Alright? When you play a game, you want to be separated from reality. When you're playing a Batman game, you want to feel like Batman. The sneaking missions in the car totally disconnected me from that feeling. Now, like I said, I don't have a huge problem with the car. The Batmobile is a great add-on. It's great from getting to point in the game. Okay? I even like some of the Riddler racetracks. Now, I'm not a huge fan of them, but I like the Riddler racetracks. Although, one question, why is the Riddler testing the car? Of all the things he could be testing, I mean, I get that he tests Batman and Catwoman as well, and I love those sections. I love the rooms in the orphanage that Riddler has set up to basically test Batman and Catwoman, where you have to switch between the two in order to solve a lot of the puzzles. But why is he testing Batman's Batmobile when his final boss fight is him in a robot suit going up against Batman and Catwoman? I mean, just, I'm not getting the connection here. You know, I have to say something that I know is going to draw a lot of ire. I love the Joker in this. They got, Mark Hamill was back. My boy Mark Hamill, you know, best Joker voice ever. I don't give a shit what anybody says. He is the best Joker voice ever. He makes you believe he is the Joker. And I love that he's a hallucination and that he's slowly taking over Batman. That's a great story element. That's a great idea. That basically Batman is now No, in Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman is going against the Joker. In Batman Arkham City, Batman is essentially working with the Joker, but he's also working against him. And now in Arkham Knight, we've come full circle to Batman becoming the Joker. Batman is kind of giving in to that side of himself that makes him not want to follow his one rule. That's great. That's good writing. It's just... And let's be honest, who didn't see who the Arkham Knight was going to be? I'm not going to spoil it here because even though I know what's going on, I don't want to frickin' ruin it for everybody else, even though the internet has already done that. I don't think it was kind of a trick when they started showing all these clips from Batman's past. Speaking of which, bravo to whoever thought to put the storylines from The Killing Joke and Death in the Family in there. Just, you know, bravo. You made awesome calls on that one. Now, that being said, we all kind of saw who the Arkham Knight was going to be when you started focusing on one storyline over the rest. Love the design of all the characters. Personal favorites, of course, Harley Quinn, you know, my favorite female villain of DC, mainly because she is so kooky. She's just that kind of character that no one can really bring themselves to hate Harley Quinn. You know, even if you say you hate Harley Quinn, there's just no way to really hate her because you can't help but feel sorry for her. You know, this is a girl who she has brains and looks and intelligence, and the only thing that happened to her was she had a run-in with the master of manipulation, the Joker. And that just really makes her adorable to me. I love that her look evolved from Arkham Asylum to Arkham City and then to Arkham Knight. Her look in Arkham Knight, home run. I love it. She looks freaking hot. Poison Ivy, I kind of like the new look, but, you know, if you're going for the plant theme with her, you probably should have tinted her skin a little bit more green. She looked more plant-like in the first two Arkham games than she does in this one. She looks a lot more human in this one. She looks good, don't get me wrong, she looks good, but she doesn't look like the Poison Ivy from the previous two games. You know, it's not quite as... It's not quite as otherworldly as she normally would look. Oh, pardon me. Two-Face, they really didn't do much to him, but they upped the rendering on him, and he looks fantastic. He looks like somebody who was burned and hurt. Penguin, kind of wish they'd have gone more traditional with his look. I love from the original Arkham City portrayal of him that his monocle is not really a monocle, it's a glass bottle that Victor Zsasz shoved into his eye. You know, that's an awesome idea. I like that. It basically shows that he's got class, but he's really a classless clown. You know, who else can I think of right off the top of my head? Loved the inclusion of Man-Bat. My only real thing about that is, and I'll give a little hint right here for anybody who's looking to play this game and is kind of stuck on the Man-Bat side mission. If there's no real intel that you're going to get for that. You know, it's not like the other missions where you've got intel coming in all over the place. Really, if you hear his screech, and you'll be able to hear it. You'll be able to hear it coming from up in the sky. Once you hear it, you're in the right spot to find him. Just grapple up to the tallest building you can find and look down. You'll eventually see him flying around. What else is there? Other than that, I mean, I really like the game. If I had to give it a rating, I would say it's probably about an 8 out of 10. I wouldn't give it a 9 or a 10 out of 10, simply because as a fan of Batman, and as a fan of these games, I didn't see enough new and interesting to warrant giving it a 9 or a 10 out of 10. Definitely didn't get a 10 out of 10 because of the sneaking missions with the Batmobile, okay? Sneaking missions with Batman are cool. Sneaking missions with Catwoman would be cool. Sneaking missions with any other character in the freaking DC universe would be cool, but not with the car, okay? The car is meant to go fast and to blow shit up. That is the point of the Batmobile. It is not supposed to be, here, let me hide in this tunnel while a tank rolls by me, possibly to scan me, and then I can only shoot it from the back when I have locked onto it. It shouldn't take you 20 minutes to complete these missions. To be honest, once you get behind it, all you should have to do is shoot it with your 60mm gun. That's it. It shouldn't require a lock-on that takes, you know, 10-15 seconds to lock in and zoom in and lock onto that one little point. It should be, once you're behind it, all you got to do is shoot. That would make the mission so much easier. And either way you go, I mean, you're getting the same effect. All you've really done is made it easier for the tank to find you. And I get that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to spam the comments with, no, it makes it more difficult and therefore makes it more fun. Guys, difficulty does not always equal fun, okay? Difficulty equals rage. Rage is not fun, okay? Only to trolls is rage fun. I actually had to argue with my girlfriend that I liked the car, but I didn't like the car at the same time. This was not fun, okay? When I'm playing a game, and I'm playing as a character, I want to feel every bit as that character. And if something should snap me out of that power fantasy because it's rage-inducing, that's not fun for me. You know, when I was playing as Batman, soaring over Gotham City using the glider cape, you know, driving the Batmobile over bridges, through buildings, you know, swinging it around corners to chase a villain, that's Batman. When I'm blowing up tanks because they are unmanned and they present a threat to the citizens of Gotham, that's Batman. Batman would never sneak in the Batmobile. I don't rightly give a flying fuck how much you want it to be like that. Batman would never do that. That's just not his style. Okay? He doesn't have that car because of how stealthy it is. He has that car because it's fucking badass. He wouldn't go through the entire game modifying his car, upgrading his car, and giving it all these little accoutrements just so he can sneak around behind a tank and shoot it after locking on. That's not Batman. Batman drives around in the Batmobile. If you wanted to have a game like that, here's how I would have done it. Okay, now this is just my idea. This is the way that I would have done it, Rocksteady. I know you've already made your game, and I know that you're making your moolah off of it. But this is the way I would have done it. I would have made it to where once you locked on to a tank, okay, just once you locked onto its position, first off, it locked on through buildings. Okay, this is Batman. He's got the most amazing radar equipment on the planet, and you're telling me he can't lock on through a building? Bullshit. Batman locks on through a building, and instead of getting around behind the tank, you know, yeah, I would say get around behind the tank, but do it in a way that's kind of obvious. You know, yeah, you let the tank pass by you, but instead of firing a 60mm cannon that gets every other tank involved, you fire like a tracker bullet. And then have the Batwing fly in and bomb the shit out of it. That would have been a cool fight. And have it work on the boss fights too. Now, when people say, oh, well, what about the tunneler? What about the tunneler? Why, you couldn't do that in the tunnel. No, but at the same time, it's a fucking tunneler, okay? It can only go in one direction at a time. It can only go in two directions at one time. Forward and backward. It cannot turn unless it's near a turn tunnel. And on top of all that, they made it like the fucking Bane fight from Arkham Origin. Now, the Arkham Origin Bane fights, plural, there are 3 of them, which I'm sorry, that's fucking annoying. I'm gonna go off on this little tangent just for a moment. Why the fuck in Arkham Origins were there 3 Bane fights? Was it absolutely necessary for us to establish exactly how strong Bane is? And if you want to be fair, there were 4 because you have to fight Croc the same fucking way. Like, really, was there a need for those 4 fights? Bane should have been, at best, 1 boss battle. If you're gonna fight his villain, you fight him once. Okay? And if you're gonna do the stealth mission fight, do it one time only. That's the only time you fight Bane. Because Arkham Asylum, he was cake. Arkham City, you don't even fucking fight him. You fight with him. Okay? And then Arkham Origins, you fight him 3 times. What were you guys trying to do? Make up for lost time? And then you just upped the difficulty on his fight by making him ungodly hard to dodge? I mean, come on, Warner Brothers Montreal. That was kind of stupid. But getting back onto my point. With the tunneler, the way I would have handled that is instead of having it be you hide in a tunnel. And now, at this point, I want to point out that I have not beaten the tunneler. I want to point this out. This is why it's so rage-inducing to me, because I sat there for almost a half an hour trying to figure out how to beat the fucking tunneler. Now that I've finally figured it out, it's just fucking annoying to me, okay? Especially since there's a point where it's just not worth the freaking price of admission, okay? The way I would have done the tunneler is very simple. Say you want to keep the stealth aspect of it. Make it to where you have to get either in front of the tunneler. Well, make it to where you have to get in front of the tunneler. And it has to be all the way at the other end, or else you're fucking dead. Also, I want to point something out here. How is a drill, what is essentially one of the turbines from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, one of the drill turbines from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, how is that faster than the Batmobile? And on top of all that, how is the Batmobile not strong enough to beat that fucking thing? I mean, Rocksteady, I'm kind of curious. You know, I mean, you're going in there and saying that this car is a badass, this car is a badass, this car is a badass, and then it can't beat a drill? Something, and especially a drill with a big fucking window in the middle of it? How does that not work? You know, that's kind of stupid. But here's how I would have done it. I would have made it to where you have to shoot at the tank, at the drill from the front every single time. And it gives you a split second to get out of the way, because it'll run into a wall. Okay? That would have required how much effort? But no, Rocksteady had to throw in a race track so that you had to swing from side to side and past these things. And oh, by the way, if you hit even one of these things, you're dead. Because somehow a drill is fast enough to keep up with the Batmobile. This is a car that can almost go Mach 3. How does it keep up? It's a drill. Not only that, it's a drill that is as big as the tunnel. Science does not follow here, Rocksteady. Pardon me. It doesn't follow. Now, again, I give this game an 8 out of 10. Combat is solid, okay? Love the combat system. They took what was already good, they kept it in there, they added a few new touches. I love the new Fear multi-takedown. I have been longing for something like that. Because, let's face it, the one thing that we gamers always hated in the Arkham games was that the henchmen would kind of clump together in the Predator sections. And then sometimes they just wouldn't break apart. You know, that's what makes being Batman hard, is that, you know, you have to try to break these guys up, and that kind of aggravates you a little bit. It's not something that would take me out of the illusion of being Batman, like the stealth tank missions. Sorry, focus. But I'm glad we have that. The Fear multi-takedowns, the dual team takedowns, absolutely love that. I love that you could play as other characters without having to go through, this mission is Catwoman, this mission is Batman, this mission is Catwoman, this mission is Batman. I love that it is now, you're fighting as both Batman and Nightwing, or Batman and Robin, or Batman and Catwoman. That's great. I love that. You being able to switch mid-combat to another character. And I love that they actually included that mechanic in some of the Riddler rooms when you take on the robots. It's more later on during the game. I'm going to give kind of a spoiler here. Riddler releases robots that blue ones can only be defeated by Batman, red ones can only be defeated by Catwoman. And the way that you defeat them involves you switching off and using your puzzle-solving skills and your combat skills both at one time. That's fun. That's cool. That's Batman. The story, you know, Batman having to deal with the Scarecrow. By the way, Scarecrow is the scariest he has ever looked in any of the Batman media. Now, I've been watching Batman and reading up on Batman since back about 1995, 1996, somewhere around there. And I've caught up on some of the older incarnations of Scarecrow. What they essentially did with him is they took his look from Arkham Asylum and melded it with his look from Batman, the new Batman Adventures. Okay? Now he kind of looks like, oh my God, he's just so good. He's so well drawn, so well created. I love that how they explained that because of his run-in with Croc at the end of his mission in Arkham Asylum, that Croc basically ripped up his face and he literally got his face reconstructed to look like his mask. That's cool. Okay. That is Super League Batman, okay? The Arkham Knight, while we all kind of guessed at who it was going to be, I love that they did their absolute best to try to keep you in the dark. You know, even though they basically told you who it was through story elements that I'm not going to get into here because, you know, it's kind of obvious who the Arkham Knight is. I love that they did all these elements to keep the mystery going. The look of the Arkham Knight is really good. He looks like someone who was basically trying to replace Batman. It wasn't necessarily that he was trying to... It wasn't just that he was trying to kill Batman. He was trying to replace Batman. And that, to me, really sets apart the whole ethos. What else? The Joker. The Joker's look is really good. He looks like he did just before he died somewhat in Arkham City. But not quite. The beginning of Arkham Knight is fucking amazing. Oh God, that's just one of those... You would think it would be a pop scare moment, but it's really not, and it kind of gives closure to Batman and Commissioner Gordon and all that. I mean, the game is just... The story elements are really good. The Batmobile racing, in terms of racing through the streets of Gotham, that's really good. I like that. In terms of the combat in the streets of Gotham, that's very good. I like that. It's just those fucking sneaking missions that kill it for me. And again, like I said, some, not all of the side missions, but some were kind of lackluster. I mean, really, did we need a mission where the whole goal was to trace an APC? Really? I mean, I get that it's a side mission and it's just, you know, it's to help advance the story, which it really wasn't. But, you know, it really made you feel like, you know, were they really just trying to ham on the car in this game? I mean, they did so much to focus on the car. Every chance they got, they focused on that damn car. And to be honest, you know, yeah, the way Rocksteady designed it, you don't have to stay in the car all the time. Because there's actually points where you have to leave the car. But the points where you have to leave the car, it's to make it easier for the car to get where you are, you know? That's just one of those things to where... Yeah. Oh, one more little pet peeve. Automatic turrets. Fuck you, Rocksteady. Fuck you with a dirty stick for adding automatic turrets. I hate those things. Not that they're badly designed, and not that they're bad enemies. It's just I fucking hate them. They are aggravation to me, okay? Alright. You know, give me a like, give a subscribe. If you want to hear me give my opinion about any other new games coming out, if I own it, I will be glad to review it. I can give you a rundown of the games that I own. In the description, I'll give you a rundown of the games that I own, and if you give me an idea for a game you want me to review out of that list, I'll be glad to do it. I'll not only be reviewing my PS4 games, I'll review PS3 games as well. Speaking of which, my girlfriend is kind of... I won't say that she's got an insider at PlayStation, but she kind of does. She has an in at PlayStation. Guys, it is with a heavy heart that I regret to tell you that they will soon be removing the PS3 from PSN, and they're going to do it within the next year. I know, I can hear the shock, awe, and anger boiling in your blood. It angers me as well. Specifically because PSN was kind of the reason why a lot of us enjoyed the PlayStation 3. So Sony, if you happen to see this video, fuck you for wanting to get rid of the PS3, okay? I get that you want to make more money, and you don't want to have to live off of an old system, but allow me to point something out to you. If you don't want the PS3 to be used, why are you still making them? Is this just kind of giving us the fuck you of all time? I mean, seriously, PlayStation. But, getting back to the ending, now, I'll tell you what, guys. I'll make you a deal. Let's see who all wants me to review a game, a movie, or a comic book. I'll do one of those three. Or maybe if you got, or I'll give you guys a fourth option. I'll do an angry rant. This is my version of an angry rant right now. So let's pick this up sometime again. This is the Venom Samurai signing off.